Sun City Radio. Play the reggae music on the radio. Now, that situation, something has gone wrong. Make a change, make a change. Make a change for better days, better days. And we make a change, make a change. A change for better days. A change for better days. This is Tanis Morrison, aka Soul Child Tanis, and you are listening to Sun City Radio, Radio with a Difference, rebuilding Jamaica.
It's the Hello Jamaica Show with Sun Diamond and Mama B.
My people, my people, my people. Welcome back to the Hello Jamaica show, right? It's time for Focus on Africa, where we bring you the latest developments shaping the continent from history to culture and everything in between. Today we examine fostering and developing young talent emerging out of Africa. Africa, Africa, Africa is emerging as a global talent powerhouse, offering unmatched potential to address the world's growing demand for skilled labor, with a youthful population, expanding digital infrastructure, and vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystems. Africa is uniquely positioned to shape the future of work. Africa boasts the youngest population in the world. Oh, I didn't know that. You son diamond? Let
Yes,
me
yeah, I've
read
heard
that.
that. Yeah, we've heard
I've never heard that before.
yeah.
Africa boasts the youngest population in the world, with a median age of just 19.7 years. In comparison, Europe's median age is 42.5, and Asia is 32. This youthful demographic provides a unique opportunity for global businesses seeking fresh talents and innovative ideas.
So joining us to now share their insights on these changes and the path forward are our weekly kings, Isaiah Mentor and Benki. Grand rising, fellas.
Gun rising, Empress, gun rising, Mama. Day is a good day
Yeah.
to be an African. I wake up and check the mirror this morning and I see I'm still African.
Wow. Good morning, my foreign son and family Benki. Wow.
Yes, Grand Rise,
Yes.
Sun City, all Sunite.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I'll start with the Benki this week.
Yeah, but before that, hey, guys, you know, couldn't you tell me so we have the youngest people in the world?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
Isaiah
didn't
said that
know that.
before.
You told me before that the Isaiah.
I swear he said it before.
You know, say, I think you know that deep down, man, because when you look on our skin and how we evolve as a race of people, we're good fun, we're the youngest, we're the strongest, we're the first, we're the best.
Youngest. Wow, the youngest.
Okay, so the Benke, what are the main challenges to talent development in Africa, would you say?
Yes, Grand Rise, give thanks again. Yes, we discussed similar the age and the trajectory of Africa a couple weeks ago. I remember. So just quickly, the challenge. I'll just be quick and blunt. The challenge is to shift from a European centered thought process to an African centered thought process. That means you look at the world as Africans first, no matter what our denomination is and our faith. On the continent of Africa, it's divided like in five different parts. You have the North Africa block, which consists of like not even a block, but just the North African countries who consider themselves to be Arab, sometimes and not Africans. And then you have West Africa, you have South Africa, you have Central Africa, you have East Africa. So all of that is within that is 54 different countries. So it come back to from day one when colonialism and independence that wave, there was discussion about how the continent gonna move forward. Are we gonna move forward as 54 different countries, or are we gonna move forward as a federal bloc similar to the United States? Are one of those Russia, huge land block, China. So, the division process put us in a place where without negotiating or bargaining power, because here you have a country as small as Swaziland, another small country as Rwanda, trying to negotiate deals with China, and one person who talks a good, who gives a good conversation around this is the ambassador Arikana Shiambore Cole. So the key is unity and stop seeing the world from the divisive mechanisms and the legacy of neo-colonialism. I am this, I am that. I am religious first, I am tribal first, I am selfish first, towards a grand vision for Africa. Unfortunately, that vision has been worked out in the West today. We're no longer at the point where we imagine we don't have history, we don't have strong men and women as examples, and we have to look to Europe for everything. We're at a point now where we need to just develop from where we're at and what we know using our own resources. So the key is to use this new mentality and access raw materials, use those your own raw materials to make finished product with your own intelligence. And the youthful population is poised to do that. Yes.
Yes, it is. So, Isaiah, next question is for you. Can you tell us, how can Africa improve access to quality education across diverse regions, would you say?
Yeah, basically, before we get into that, we just want to compliment Africa and its growth.
Yes.
And I think it's very important that we spend some time to highlight the growth of Africa, because I don't want our listeners around the world um, to think that Africa is not growing and not evolving. We are a very resilient people. No other race on the planet been through what we've been through. Specifically speaking, Rwanda. And right now, Rwanda is leading a lot of African countries as it comes to innovation, technology, and all of that stuff. So Africa is growing, ladies and gentlemen. It's not one of those countries that are still stuck in the past. We're a very resilient people. There's a lot of extremely intelligent scientists, young people that are coming out of Nigeria. South Africa is doing extremely well. There are still obstacles, don't get me wrong. And a matter of fact, I just want to mention Ethiopia also. When it comes to, we have the best airlines in all of Africa. It takes technology, it takes knowing artificial intelligence, it takes a lot of educational skills to have the best airline in Africa. So I just want to highlight some of these. There are still obstacles, of course, and there are still challenges. But one of the things I would advise African leaders to do, really, we have all the resources, is to invest in your people, invest in your children. That's how you're going to have a good future with leaders and scientists and people that are good in technologies. The Chinese model. You don't, when you live there, you don't have to worry about health care. You don't have to worry about paying for colleges and all that stuff. So I think one of the best, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that, once you invest in young people and you go in the ghettos or wherever it is, just same thing in Jamaica, invest in your children, and you would have been investing in your future. So Africa is on the rise. Great things are happening in Africa. And that is the way how, to improve, just improve access, just improve, make mothers, when families take their children to school, they're belly full. They feel comfortable. They don't have to worry about wars and tribalism and all that. So there are a lot of different parts and components to feel comfortable in order to learn and to be a good leader in the future.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so Benki, how can the private sector contribute to talent? So, the private companies, not the government, but the private sector, how can they contribute to talent development in Africa, would you say?
You know, my response is always gonna be we look within ourselves first and we start to develop from our local communities first. And then from there people can support your own initiative. But what usually happens is that we usually wait for somebody else to come with an initiative. And then that initiative is like a one size fits all. It's expected to work in Jamaica the same way it work in Scandinavia. And this is where a cultural approach is important and uplifting people from their own grassroots. So the first thing that leadership has to do is lead from a cultural perspective, meaning you have to break down things from a scientific level. You have to break down things historically from where this whole thing is coming from. You have to be clear that this is a competitive world. And usually, private sector does not come with that. They come with funding. They come with a formal learning system, which might be traditional elsewhere. So we have to have a traditional approach. And let me just give an example. This is where learning needs to change. For example, if I hand you a wine glass, uh, you look at it physically, I just hand you a wine glass and you can drink some wine. But scientifically, I just handed you oil that's compressed with sand. So when you start to look on things scientifically, it changed how we approach education. You're not just looking at it to get a job, but you're looking at it to develop raw material. You're looking at it to develop resources into finished product. And that type of education, the West does not give it to you. That type of education, you don't learn it in school in Africa. That type of education is usually reserved for for someone. For example, nobody gonna teach you how to polish your own diamonds, even though Africa full of diamonds. That is not in the curriculum. You see? So we have to shift the whole curriculum to a different level. And maybe me just take a plug. That is why I help to facilitate a master class that really takes the student into this type of realm. And again, if you look at the microphone in front of you, just as a microphone that allows you to talk, we have to look on it as carbon. We have to look on it as beryllium. We have to look on it as titanium crystals. This is what education has to be for the future to work technologically for us. It's not just you learn the mathematics and you learn the math and then you come today and do the same repetitive job. It has to challenge the student to think scientifically and culturally as well as economically and socially.
Wow,
Thank
thank you, Dibenke. That was great. I'm so glad that you mentioned that because up to yesterday, we have been having outside broadcasts where Hard Trust are encouraging students to learn a skill. They're taking skills pay the bills. And and I felt so proud because it's important that our children learn how to use their hands, how to learn a skill. So the question is, what are the best ways to retain skilled professionals in Africa?
Okay. So the best way to retain professionals in Africa is make. I mean, there's so much moving parts, Mama B. But the best way is to really, in this time, make learning and career attractive. The West takes away most of our talent.
Yes.
And it's only because for instance, I have a very good friend of mine. She's a school principal in St. Andrew, administrator. Right now, she's getting ready to go work in North Carolina, teach in North Carolina. So this is an example of what I'm saying is the different moving parts has to go. And yes, we have to go back to slavery and colonization. It's multi-generational negative effect. It affects us right through. Because when, like my friend Judith right now, she's a school administrator in Jamaica and she has to come to the United States to work for better income. Same thing in Africa where they're taking our talents. And so these parts have to be set from early out. Listen, Africans historically, we are inventors. We create things. We are like the smartest people on the planet. So we are not an inept race of people that don't know nothing. It's these are the effect, the consequences of all what we've been through to colonization, slavery, and all that. And our brain, when you're not comfortable, when your belly not full, when you're not comfortable, when you don't feel like you have any hope, dreams, and aspiration, oh, you go study. So while we highlight some of the things that we need to do, we need to go back to some of the causations here and the psychology that comes with that. And so we as Africans just need to invest in our people, basically, because the Creator Mother Earth gave us all the resources in the
Yes,
world
yes.
to invest in our children. Some I don't know some leaders over there. So I forgot which country you come from. They go in my house and I pay a suitcase full of gold bars and whatever. And that's why listen, I cannot stop bigging up Theodore, Abraham, Trudeau, and these new leaders because now they're investing in people. They don't need the West. So it is very simple. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand. If you want to have a good future, and I'm not an authority in this type of topic or an economist or historian, but speaking in lay terms, if you want your society to be successful, progressive, productive, whatever. Just invest in your picnic in the man. Make sure so you have counselors got in different houses. We are trying to get out of all of what we've been through with the West. We've been decimated, destroyed in a lot of ways, but we're not dead. We are resilient. All they have to do, like Abraham Trader, start investing back in your people in Africa. We know what it takes to because it's in our DNA. We invented most of the things that people around the world are using.
Yes,
We, we,
yes.
we, we bring civilization to the world. So it's already in our DNA. All we have to do now, Mama V and Son, it's simple. When you sell your gold or your diamond, just like what King Benki said, you have finished retail product in your diamonds and your oils. Take the money to the man and make sure say no parents not have to spend $1 for the picnic at school.
Mhm.
Same thing with Jamaica. No
Yeah.
kids not Jamaica are supposed to pay no money for go to school. Huh?
No
I make
money.
the people, people mind your good.
Yes.
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 Because it's like when they're going to school, you're investing in the country because that's the future leaders and the future people, workers. So why would the government or we not invest in that? Because at the end of the day, we're gonna reap the benefits of what we're teaching them and what they're learning. And that is the leads on to the next point, Debenke, where what role does technology and innovation play in developing talent in Africa? Because as we've said, we create nearly everything.
Not to
And
mention Rwanda. Yeah, with
yes,
the phone thing. Not that
yes, and
thing.
Congo as well.
Yes.
So there's so much places in Africa where they need our whether it's metals or minerals or whatever it is for technology. So what roles can technology and innovation play in developing talent in Africa, Debenke?
Well, technology allows me to steer sometimes right in my home, and just know many things that previous generation would not have had that access. And it sets us up that, as Jamaicans, we have a beautiful foundation just in terms of who we are and our strong faiths and belief. But the technology allows us to be scientific and technological and think in terms of knowledge. So the knowledge is what we use to advance, and the technology puts it right at your fingertip. The key is to know how to use it. We need to retrain the teacher instead of just train from the text and just reading and swatting. The technology chat GTP can be a tool in the future, which just teaches you exactly. You have to go school, go learn for 4 years how to manufacture something. This thing can just tell you how to do it step by step. So you just have to be humble, patient, and have instruction and discipline. But the key is we have to learn in our group. We have a tendency to just believe we alone know it and we not trust each other. You see, once you break down that and you have a strong instructor and you have leadership and you have a group and everybody focus on what they are good at and people can draw information. And once you have the right structure, the current structure is a colonial structure. It's designed to majority of the students just learn to get a job at the hotel or down at the factory. It's not designed to innovate, create the big businesses that will generate revenue for a whole nation in the future. So you need a transformational society where people are thinking together, working together, and every man is just desperate and woman that think about themselves. So you need the principle to establish that we are one people and we're going to stick together regardless. And this is why identity is important before we get to all of the technology. Who are we? What do we have in common? what we have in common is that we are an African people who came to this country, some of us unwillingly, some of us willingly on our own before Christopher Columbus. So change the narrative because the technology puts the new information right at your fingertips. So it's difficult for me to have a conversation as if it is 1960 when we have all the information here in 2025. Yeah.
Yes, so hear this the Benke and hear this Isaiah. I listen to my grandson playing games with children all over the world. And me and Marvel, me say to myself, would it be nice if we were talking about how to be creative, how to be inventive, and not quarrel about the games that they're playing? Can you
Cute
imagine the
games.
Benke if you ever hear them all over the world, you
And
know?
listen, some of them shouting and screaming
And
and
shouting
going
and
on
screaming
bad.
bad. Wouldn't it be nice if they would be there discussing how they can create something new than focusing on playing games all over the world, Benke and Isaiah? What a thingy.
One,
No, people do make
one,
money
one
from
of the
that.
things, yeah, one of the things that the Chinese do, and I keep bringing them up because I still have to respect them. I really do. I really do. One of the things that the Chinese do when it comes to technology, and they're ahead of that. They're ahead in that, but also the young kids, they teach these, and just to go to your point, Mama B, with your grandson and not only him, but children in this Western society where technology and playing games and all that seem to take up their brain time, is the Chinese from their very young, 3, 4, 5 years old. They learn to build things with their hands. They learn to create things with their hands. And before the Chinese, we as Africans, that's what we used to do. And so when a child take up and spend a lot of time, have a lot of screen time. And I have a son, to be honest with you, I have a son. He's never seen television before, but that's another story. I have a son right now named Soleil. He's never seen and does not know what a television look like. This kid is addicted to book reading. And so what I'm saying is, as far as the parents are concerned, I know it's not easy because people always dump everything on parents. But yes, within the homes, we need to cut back the screen time of kids and let them read more. But also, please, I need people to understand something about AI. AI, in its inception, the way it was created, it's already biased against African people because what AI is, real quick, it's just a system, and I'm not a professional on this, but it's just a system that processes faster, that has more information. Where do they get that information from? Information that's already here. Information that is already here in this world is most of it is biased against black people, black history. So we have a lot of roads to walk here to really get up there because they make the foundation for us so confusing and tells a lot of lies. So even AI and all these type of technology, a black person needs to approach these things with an open mind and just be critical and be careful of these information that are stored in this new automated system across the world.
Yes. And Benke, did you want to add to that in regards to technology and how Africa can harness the talent through technology and innovation?
Everything is positioned right now for growth and development. You know, um, to give you an example, last night I was watching Japanese history because I not only have Africa, because Africa history influenced everybody else's history. And it talk about when the Japanese came across Europeans for the first time, and the Europeans brought with them the gun. And the Japanese emperor, he only needed two of the gun. And by the time him get two of it, he replicate it and then started to fire their own weapons. That is not only in the case of weapons. Can you hear me still?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that can apply in the case of computer. That can apply in every case. So the key is that we haven't tapped into what we have enough before we start to worry about what we don't have. In a Ghana, when Kwame Nkrumah came to power, main thing he did, he created the Volta Dam. From the Volta River, he created a dam. And this dam is now one of the largest man-made lakes in the country. What that means to me is hydroelectric power. And these type of resources was never tapped into because Kwame Nkrumah was infiltrated by the West and removed from power.
Yeah.
And that's just one example. So we have to just pick up from where we left off in terms of development and work together. The funding have to come into our vision. The funding can come to move you from your vision to you fulfill somebody else's vision. So we have to have a vision first. Africa.
Yeah.
When the program starts, it's a Jamaica 2030. So the question is, what are we doing collectively? Because Mama B alone can't do it. You see what I'm saying? So the collective approach and break down we not trust each other. Because even in Jamaica, you start to talk about Africa, people get confused already. Some people think it's a backward place based on the propaganda. So we need our own propaganda. So I always start from saying Africa taught the world. All right?
Okay.
First, languages and
Yes.
systems
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
economy.
Thank you so much. All right, fellas, we've run out of time, so we have to leave you, but we will be back with Isaiah Mentor and Benki
Yes.
next week, Wednesday, for Focus on Africa. Thank you so much.
Yes, congratulations, Isaiah. See your song and mash up Brazil. Well done, my son.
Yeah.
Proud of you, proud of you. I'll encourage my listeners to go into YouTube, type in Isaiah Mentor, and you see the song we have a blaze in Brazil. Well done, my son.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Have
Thank
a
you,
great day.
Andrew. All right, thank you, guys. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, it's time for our feature singers and players of instruments. But this week, we're going to be talking about cover versions of songs. Okay, back after this.
Design your dream home with Total Hardware and Supplies. We have windows of all sizes on special. Doors galore. Choose from our wide variety of porcelain and ceramic tiles. Experience the best deals on sanitary ware, jacuzzis, shower